G'day there, credit where credit is due. The Nats can't be accused of not taking this election seriously with policy. Name me Labor's latest policy and when it was announced. And given you probably can't, at least National are pumping it out. And put aside whether you agree with it or not, at least it's out there, at least there is choice, at least there are ideas. Now, from the 3,000 for babies to the 31 billion for infrastructure, most days there's been an announcement of late. We've got border policy, a plan for TY, something for small business. That, by the way, with its 90-day trials, is the first real example we've seen that involves businesses actually been given an opportunity to grow without the endless welfare checkbook being brought alongside it. We have law and order covered. There was a car insurance policy around third-party cover that would hardly change the world, but once again, a good example of simple, practical stuff that shows signs of thought and research and a gap in the status quo. There has been health money in policy for schools, both in infrastructure and future planning. It's all there if you want it. The question, I guess, is, do we? Are we open to ideas? Do we want a debate? Is there an alternative? And how engaged are we? The real sadness would be if this was all about COVID, and that's about it. We as a country in that case would be in deep, deep trouble. COVID, of course, is omnipresent, of course it is, but for some we seem to have been swamped by it. Certainly you can see it in the Prime Minister. The interview we did a couple of weeks ago where she knew nothing of council issues and a port proposal showed she knows, well, about COVID, but little more. Even last week when we asked about social housing, the department paying $3,000 a week for houses worth $550, she knew nothing. Add to that the lack of policy from the government, like tax. They cutting? They're putting it up. Short of telling us from the podium of truth what their latest thinking around levels is, just what is it they're doing? What's their plan? What's next? Do they have anything at all? Their calling card, the plight of children, shockingly exposed last week by UNICEF. They seem to have closed down, basically, the places run by Ardern, Hipkins and Woods, and their fingers across that seemingly no one will notice. So kudos to the Nats for at least, potentially at least, making this an election a contest of ideas.